Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself, Robert, on the show tonight is the two bright sparks of Rangers Radio, GB and Port Bear. Evening, lads, how are we?
Well, I'll let you go first, mate, if you want. I was waiting for the Pope to come in. He's big. To me. This is why we've not came on in a while, mate. This is how we just muck it up right away. 8 in the morning. Right, over to you, Paul.
The Chuckle Brothers are back. The Chuckle Brothers are back. Hi, good evening, Robert. How you doing, mate? Good to be back on. Looking forward to a wee interesting show tonight, mate. There's a lot been happening in the Rangers world at the moment, and I'm excited about the future, mate, and I'm excited to go on tonight.
Aye, good to hear from yourself, mate, and you're right, there's a lot been happening since we last spoke, so it'll be good to get your view on it. How are you, GB?
Aye, all good. Glad to be on with you. Glasgow Coasters tonight, the Bear of the Port, and the Rob of the Port as well. So aye, it's good to be on these, and aye, interesting points that will be coming tonight, mate, because like I says, so the last time I've been on, from an Old Firm win to moaning about no getting any signings in to potentially sitting with maybe free by the end of play tomorrow. So aye, looking all rosy, mate.
Aye, certainly. So where will we start? Let's have a look. We've brought in two new signings, Port Bear this week, with one other pretty much a matter of time for confirmation. The two new guys are in Tochi Chukwuani from Sturm Graz and Tua Romans from Westerlo. Are you pleased that we've done some business early? And what's your thoughts on the two guys that have came in?
In regards to the timing of the signings, mate, it had to be done early. I didn't want to wait to the end of the window, mate, when you're rushing about. It looks unplanned. It looks rushed. And then that old, the old phrase, the panic buying. These don't look like panic buys to me, because I heard you touch on Tua Romans last night. The boy was the assistant coach under Clermont. I can't remember his name, the Moroccan lad. He was the manager of the team Westerlo who coached Tua Romans, and I'm sure he'd have bigged up Rangers. I'm sure he'd have told the boy, he's 21. He's a Belgian at 21 on the last list. He's I think 6'1", which is a big one to a boy for a fullback. I seen his wee interview saying that he likes getting forward, but the big part of his game is the defensive side. So we're not just getting somebody that can go one way, which I'm excited about. And we keep adding to the height, Robert. Same with Chukwuani as well. Another boy, 6'2.5 years, nearly 6'3". Again, he's a big unit of a boy. And to add to what we've already got, we're becoming a real threat at set pieces. You get Fernandez, the big boy. He's 5 goals already. A threat in both boxes. He's still raw for me, but why boy was not given a chance earlier when they were sitting back struggling. Big Fernandez, big man, he's done brilliant in recent weeks, mate. And I know he is still early in the centre half sort of progression, and they don't seem to mature. I don't think till they get to the 28, 29, 30 mark when they really come into their own. But the other signing that's coming, that should be coming, Skov Olsen as well. He's 6'1" as well, mate. So again, we're adding height, we're adding big units to the team, a physicality which we've not had for a long time. So aye, the port's excited, mate.
Aye, certainly is, mate. And we'll hear what Danny Rohl's got to say about them as well. Obviously, he had his press conference today, so we'll get GB's thoughts first, and then we'll hear the first part of Danny Rohl's interview where he touches on the signings and what may lie ahead, and we'll get his thoughts on it as well, discuss that further. But GB, same question to yourself, mate. Happy with the signings so far? Key areas of the park identified, by many supporters, but the club and the board have responded by going to get 2 players that could be starters.
Aye, or fighting for it anyway, Robert, definitely. I mean, the way that what's happened with Barn as well, it was important that we did look at midfield, and that left-back position's been probably something that's been limped on since the summer, so it was good to see that we got that kind of business done early doors, and now, again, we're looking at our Achilles heel, and hopefully that will get sorted with Skov coming in, because that, I don't know about you, but that right side our attack has never been right. Even during the Gerrard time, it was really kind of a mixture of Hadji and Scotty Arfield that was kind of out there for us at that time, but they weren't still proper like right wingers. So like this boy Skov, I think will be hopefully the one that will fill that jersey and cement in a place in that right wing for once, and we'll see actually some rewards from that side of the pitch. I know Gassam has been put out there. Ant-Man, to a certain extent, did light it up in his very first game, but he's never recovered for that, Ant-Man. So, again, the gauntlet will be getting laid into him because there's another guy coming in there. And then I think, like it says across the park, we're hopefully still looking. I mean, hopefully there's still opportunities there to be had, because the 2 that are in the now, the starters, but as we've seen, Barn was totally out of the blue with his injury, so these things can happen. So it's going to be important that we kind of shore up the full squad by the end of the window, mate.
No, you certainly need the squad depth, and particularly now because we're in a position again to be right in a title charge and a title race, that you're going to need players available if and when, as you say, you get a knock, you get an injury or a suspension. You never know with some of these officials in Scotland that could happen as well, mate. So I think you're right that it's an important time to bring them in. Now, I know the left-back position, as you say, McGoma's been there all kind of since the summer, but he's only natural left-back. But the past few weeks, Port Bear, McGoma's been playing well. He's developing, he's growing. You can see he's got a bit about him. He's not the finished article, of course, but he's doing himself no harm to say, I've got the jersey, come and take it off me.
No, he definitely has come on to the game, and he is maturing into that shot for such a young boy. You know, one thing that irks me about Robert and Gary, you know, he's not your player, and we're probably not going to be able to afford him. If I'm totally honest. I know there's still been talks running about the boy James Penrice, and I know Andrew Kavanagh along with the CEO Fraser Thornton had a meeting with the fans and stuff, and it was basically revealed way back in early January, for the minutes of the meeting, that a left back, midfield physicality and creativity in the final third were top priorities. So, you know, I know they've brought Romans in and Magoma's going to be there, but effectively when the season's finished, Magoma goes back to his parent club, and we're back to having one left back. So James Penrice at Athens at the moment, not getting his game. He's got, you know, experience in the Scottish game, which Kavanagh also touched on in that same meeting. We still need, and Gary, I know you're big on this, mate, and like Robert, I know yourself. We still need a Scottish influence, I think, in my team. And although Penrice is in Greece right now, he did have, you know, a lot of experience and got a move from Hearts to Athens. So I still think there'll be business done, lads. But I think it might be some players possibly from the rain country. They maybe look at that, a bit more experience for the rain country. I would go and sign Braga for Hearts right now to weaken them and to bolster their front line. That'd be another one I would like just to throw that in there.
I think there's certainly a few players within the league that have stood out, particularly more so this season than most, if I'm being honest. And I think the Penrice one is an interesting one because, you say, he knows the league, but he fits that quota of the homegrown player, as we know that's an aspect we've got to look at as well. We can't just always sign players from foreign countries and bring them in. You've got to have the quota, especially for European football, should we get it, and hopefully that's the case. But what we'll do, lads, we'll get Danny Rohl's view on these 2 signings that have come in his press conference today. It's in 2 parts. We'll listen to the first part, and we'll get your views after that. So if you get yourselves on mute, let's hear from your gaffer, Danny Rohl.
Morning, Danny. Since we last spoke to you, you've signed another player, Tua Romans. Can you just tell us a little bit about him and how happy you are to bring him to the club?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Good morning. I'm very happy that he's here now. I think we worked hard to make this deal done. He will bring us a physical side as well to the team. I think he's very strong in the defense. Had his moments also in the offensive. By him, we have to building up him. Yeah, I think this is the next couple of days. It's about building up him that he's ready then to play games. And yeah, from this point, I think it's also important. Jade makes in the last couple of weeks, months, outstanding job. I think this is great. And then we have with Tua, a player who is, of course, for long term for us as well, very helpful that we have this position covered.
From what you're saying there, he's not going to be available for the weekend then, or will he be off the bench, or where's his fitness?
He will be not available for the next 10 to 14 days around this. If it's one day longer, please be not too strong with me. But yeah, it's a little bit in this direction. And then I think we have to make sure. And I think this is always, not just by him, always in general, a little bit the topic. As in the past, you have some players, they come from a pre-season, some players, they had a longer break, some players, they had some minutes. You have to bring them straight to a group. They are really playing since weeks and months together and through. And this is now the job to do, that we have more from them, just one game.
The club appear to be close to signing Andreas Skov-Olsen. Can you tell us a bit about him and how close is that to being completed?
I'm not a good poker player, but no, we are in a process. It looks very positive, but as long as it's not confirmed and everything is through, then I cannot tell you too much. Let's keep working like we did by the last two signings as well.
Danny, if you do get that deal over the line, what sort of signal would that be in this title race? Yeah,
the title race is very close at the moment. There are three teams. They are fighting for something. We make our job as best as we can. We were in the last couple of weeks very clear what we want to do and what we have to do. This is the good part. And from this point we go forward. I think still 14, 15 days to go. Let's see what is possible on the market. But of course, if you have three players in very early, it's early for me, in the middle of the month, then we made so far a good job.
Just last one on Olsen, if I may, Danny. Rangers appear to have been tracking him for a while. How aware were you of him from when?
Yes, a lot of good situations. I was asking for a left foot on the right side. I think this is also part because we have a lot of right foots. It gives us a different profile as well. He had a lot of goals in Bruges. And now it's about us, if he comes, that we bring him back to his best performance. And if he can do, then of course he could be a great loan signing.
Danny, you said after one of the games recently you wanted the board to be brave in the transfer window, and if there was anything that they believed in, to really go for it. How satisfied are you that it looks as if that's the case?
I think I said this from the beginning on, how we set up at the moment. Our communication, our direction is great. I think Andrews is very helpful. He is very on front foot. I like this. But we are also very clear what we want. I can always give my opinion. I give my recommendation. Then the recruitment give me recommendations and suggest some players, and then we sit together again, and then we look through the videos, to the data. We make some calls to make sure how's the characters, and then we look if it's possible to do the deal or not. And at the moment, it looks, we are really strong because we make strong decisions. We are not just talking, we are really acting at the moment and doing, and this is great. We prepare everything, and we have to continue. We know we want to strengthen our squad. We have to be very competitive in the second half of the season.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that, Fox. GB, two Romans obviously going to be managed into the squad due to a recent injury. Just a precaution to give him time to get his full fitness. Makes sense to me, mate. Don't fling him in too early when you don't need to. As we said, Magoma's been doing well. 10 to 14 days, you won't really notice it because he'll not be involved tomorrow night. He won't be in the European squad, so hopefully he's ready to go for the next league game. Just makes sense, doesn't it?
Aye, mate, it does. It does. Like I says, I don't think we are at the stage a couple of years back where we were signing guys and they were just going to stay on the treatment table. I think the manager, Kavanagh and all the rest of it, I think for what we've seen so far, that they're going to be shrewd with their business and make sure that when they sign somebody that's not going to be a Daniel Prodan in the making, you mean, touch wood, it's no, after me saying that, but no, it's the right thing. Give some time to bed into the squad, get some light training sessions in as well, get some to enjoy the game, the Mora. I mean, like it says, I would imagine he'll be in the stands watching how the team play and stuff, so he'll get an understanding of the fans and how the team move and play. So I really good with the manager. It's man management, isn't it? Let the boy bed in, get settled, and then hopefully he'll start to be able to rotate as and when. But Magoma, as we said, is holds the shirt all day long. We just keep his spirits up, we keep his confidence high, and then like I says, we use Toure just when it comes to that kind of part in the game where we just need to see it the game, maybe, and that way we can keep the freshness there.
Aye, it's competition for places, mate. It's always good. Poet, you might get your wish, mate, by the sounds of what Danny Rohl's saying there. Once Skov Olsen is confirmed, it sounds like we're not finished there, mate. Maybe another 1 or 2, depending on what's available in the market, but we don't seem to be slowing down anyway.
No, definitely not. And I think obviously with injuries to Barron and also to John Sterling, mate, it looks like he's going to be for a wee while as well. So when you just think you're getting back, Sterling, and he looks strong in the games, and he was doing really well, and we really needed him at the time. Well, another setback, his body's let him down again, and obviously the Barron man was a shock to me. So I still think, well, one light in midfield. So I would like to see another central midfielder along the same lines as Chukwueze, a big physical player, because you've got Raskin, Diamande, Barron. They're all diminutive figures. Diamande's lean, needs a bit of a bulk on him. But Chukwueze's totally different. He's just a big lumpy boy. And I think that's what we need in the middle of that part. But because of a bit of utility, man, if we can get somebody that can play in a few positions like Sterling can, I think if we can get somebody like that, that'd be a great asset to have. I still think we need a striker. I still think we need a striker as well, boys. But forget that. Skov Olsen, fills that right position, like Gary was touching on. And I still say to this day, the last person that played on the right that done a decent job and Dovetail would have excellently at the time was the Portuguese lad. His name was there a minute ago to
Candias.
Daniel Candias. He was the last one, in my opinion, that proper right winger. That done the work going the other way. Dovetail would have excellently. And that's the last time that we've had a proper right-footed right winger that could create and score goals. So I'm hoping that's what Olsen's going to bring. goals, and obviously he takes set pieces, takes corners. He's got a wicked right foot on him, so he has, lads. So no, I'm excited. I'm excited. But just to touch on the spending, guys, it has to be sustainable spending. We can't go bonkers and end up putting ourselves back to, I'm not saying back to where we were, but sustainable spending that we can make a profit on players that we're bringing in. That's the model. That's what we want. And then that carrot's been dangled, which that carrot was away from us. See the Champions League carrot, lads. We were miles away. We were miles off that. At one point, we were 12 points behind Hearts, and we've clawed it back to where we are now, and we're right in the title race. And if Andrew Kavanagh spends wisely, and the signings work out that he's got, there's a 40 million, carrot dangling, boys. It's a big chunk of money. Andrew Kavanagh will be desperate, and Pedrag and the rest of the 49ers will be desperate to get into the club.
Aye, you make a good point, and I'll pose a question to yourselves, and I'll go to GB first, and then you can come back into it. When Danny Rohl first came in, the expectation to me would be simply win games, because we weren't. How much do you think the expectation has now changed, given the form and results that we've got under him to get us where we are now? GB. Port Bear.
Well, in my opinion, mate, Danny Rohl's kept his end of the bargain. So he's came in and he's been pragmatic. He's not tried to reinvent the football wheel. He's come in and looked what he's had as a squad and thought, right, how do I get the best out of this squad? Which to me was the wisest thing to do. So this playing out for the back inside your own 6-yard box, if you notice, that stopped. We started, mixing it up. We were, we did. I'm not saying we're just a, punt merchants. We did try and play out, but there is times when you see Jack Butland just going long, being pragmatic, mixing it up. If you've not got the tools in the box, Robert, to play that style, then why risk losing goals? We were leaking goals, like a sieve. So that was the first thing I had to stop. So in my opinion, Danny Rohl has deserved the treatment he's getting for Kavanagh and he's the 49ers at the moment, because he's kept his his end of the bargain up by getting us to where we are in the league at the moment. So no, I think it's a two-way street, mate. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. If Danny Rohl keeps getting the performances and the points on the board, no matter how they get them, mate, has it been pretty at times? No, it's not. But there's a lot of times under Walter Smith, mate, but it wasn't pretty. But we were getting the W's, and that's what mattered. And then, before you know it, we're right in this title race, and Kavanagh can spend a wee bit more money because, as I said, there's a big £40 million carrot dangling, mate. And right now on form, I think we're the form team in the league. Danny Rohl's won the most points out of, the manager since he came into the club, since his arrival. And if he keeps going in that direction, mate, then there'll be one result at the end of the year, in my opinion. So, keep it going, and hopefully now with a bit of quality, Robert, we can add a bit of quality onto the pitch, and you'll get to see, some ums and edge of your seats football. We can be less pragmatic. We can play, a much better football because we've got a higher standard and quality of player. And as I said, that comes from, I think, Danny Rohl proving his coaching ability in a short time and getting results in the pitch, mate, and getting us back in the fight.
So would you say then that, given what we've done under Danny Rohl, Kavanagh expects us to go and win the league, and he's telling Danny, I'm giving you the backing, go and deliver?
Of course he is, mate. I think that's exactly it. I don't think his job will under threat if he doesn't, right? But I'll put that out there right now. But he knows, it's not like the Premier League where you now need to go and spend 50, 60, 70 million in January to try and get you in the top four. He'll spend a fraction of that and potentially put Rangers in the Champions League. So I think, as I said, Danny Rohl's will be expected to win the league with this backing, mate, because I think, these results are speaking for themselves domestically, mate. And you know my opinion on the domestic football, and I've said that a million times on the show. Get back to winning, get back to domestic dominance, and then the rest will take care of itself. Because if you start winning your leagues on a regular basis, you get Champions League money, and you can constantly add quality to your squad, then there's only one direction your club will go in. And Andrew Cavanagh's a clever man, mate, with nice financial backing, mate. So, I do think that's one of the reasons that Cavanagh's backed him so strongly, because I think he thinks we're on course and we're definitely in this title fight.
GB, Port mentions there about with the form team in Scotland, and you can clearly see that the points total that we've achieved with Danny Rohl since he came in has been remarkable, given where we were. But strangely enough, mate, if you look at the bookies, and I know you like to look at a wee tip now and again, especially that Southside Super 6, which we'll hopefully hear later on. You look at the bookies, can you guess who the favourite is to win the league title as of right now?
Mull. they're challenging. They're challenging.
Incorrect,
No,
mate.
Mate.
The answer, believe it or not, is Celtic. They're the favourites with the bookies to go and win the league. A team who's just went into second last night with a 1-0 victory. My question to the kind of bookies would be, why? Why are they favourites? Is it because Martin's back? Or do the bookies know that the referees are against Rangers? GB.
I would probably lean towards the Martin's back, probably, because he has experience. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I says, there's all that going on with these crazy decisions and stuff like that. But no, I think it's probably because Martin's been back.
What were your views on that one, mate? Because if you look at it, as you say, we're the form team. We're making signings in the window. We're on the trajectory. They've had through the crisis as we did earlier in the season. So what makes them favourite now?
Is it Paddy Power, mate? The clowns. I mean, come on. The book. They're absolutely blinded, mate. Some of these things you see are absolutely blinded. But there's the big. Let's start being the conspiracy wheel here, mate. But they do get a lot of assistance after referees in your country. That's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody can come on and argue with me if you like. They do get a lot of assistance. They were very lucky to get it. That result last night. Falkirk just didn't have the quality at the other end of the department to put the ball in the pokey. You know what I mean? They done really well last night, Falkirk. So they scraped it there with a 1-0 win. And obviously, the Messiah's back, Managerial. They think this is going to be all better. But, Robert, I don't care about them. I really do not give a damn about them right now. See if we just keep the form we're on right now and with the quality that's been added, that will see us to this title. Mark my words on it. I'm saying it now. That if we add the quality and these signings work out as well as I think they're going to work out, and we add, as I said to you, one or two more, just for that complete depth, and then we'll eventually Barron and usual will get added back into the squad when they're fit. Then we should have enough quality and fight, determination in the squad, physicality, which I knew I can mention my squad's got, are going to have physicality. They've still not signed a player, mate. They're still having their wee tantrums. You see it all over social media. They've not signed a player. I seen the interview with Neil last night on the news, and he was saying he was asked the question, what's taking so long with players, and he actually said we might wait. We might stay our work at the end of the window. So to me, that become panic buys, mate. That become panic buys. Or what they'll do is what they always do: get somebody at the English Premiership to keep the Moonhowlers happy. A big name, and spend an absolute fortune to get them on a 6 months loan fee. You know what they're like? They've done it loads of times with guys like Robbie Keane, all that carry on, and they come up, Roy Keane, etc. They've come up and done nothing. So as I said, I don't care about the Moonhowlers, mate. They can do what they like.
Aye, here, mate. Here. It's just an interesting point, just when you mentioned the form and things, and how well we're doing in GB. That's one thing that, again, you can look back to October. You can look at the performance of the team, but one thing that's dramatically improved is the atmosphere around the club, both on and off the park. The supporters are galvanised under Danny Rohl. They've took to him right away. The players have certainly taken to him right away. And I think as you hear him more in every interview he does, he really understands it. He really gets it. And I think so does Andrew Kavanagh, because I think that's a guy who's spent a lot of his own time over here, meeting fans, going to fan forums, getting a real feel of it. But right now, mate, there's a real buzz about the place. Or is it just me?
Is that for me, Robert?
Aye, GB.
It has one thing ever since the Russell Martin sacking. He's kind of been hanging about a lot more. He's been in about the fans forum. He done loads of interviews with the press and stuff like that, ironing out what he was actually got today and how he was going to attack it. And he's always said, to be fair, ever since the kind of Russell Martin thing, that was the biggest thing he was always getting asked: is there going to be funds available for the new manager in January and all that? And true to his word, he's shown it so far. You know what I mean? I think the atmosphere side of things, yep, we're on a good feel-good factor and stuff like that. I'm still a bit kind of glass half full now with the team. As much as we've got through the 3 big games there, I think the Aberdeen game was still kind of struggling to kind of put the teams away. I know it's 2-0s, but it's that kind of way. So there's parts in the game where you're like, oh, this could turn and stuff like that. So I'm still kind of on the fence about the whole. We're in a title challenge, I agree, but I'm still kind of that way that I'm not getting ahead of myself. Whereas it's great to see the fans all happy and stuff like that again, but I just think let's just see what happens. Now, when you're going back to the point where you're talking about where the managers and Kavanagh's expectations, you expect, I think, Danny to challenge for the title. I think he's probably maybe expecting a trophy, either the league or the Scottish Cup, out of the investment he's got to put in January. But certainly, like I says, I think the bar will still be there that if there's no title at the end of this season, then it's not going to be a failure because of what's happened throughout the season, kind of thing. For me, I think, like I says, Danny's getting this investment in now to build for the future, because like it says, the age of the team and stuff like that now is still young. So I think he's future-proofing as well as challenging for the title this window.
I think that kind of goes to what your point was, Port, that the calibre of player we bring in, the standard. For me, I mentioned it last night in the show to Ox that I'm excited about the Skov Olsen deal, simply because I think he's got a higher calibre reputation and profile than any signing we've made so far, either now or in the summer. He just comes with that kind of experience that we've been looking for, as you say, that right-hand side in particular. But he's a Danish international. He's played in Champions League, Europa League. He knows how to play football. He's 26. He could be a real coup in terms of a signing for us, mate. And I think that's the kind of standard and calibre that if we want to build and sustain a good period of time of being successful, that's the kind of players you need to be looking at.
100%, mate. You know, if Cavan is eager to keep this strong, run of form and ensure, this take the competitive stage in the squad, and this run continues, we need plenty of squad options. Robert, GB, we need plenty of options in there, because there's times where, like I said earlier on, where you have to be pragmatic and play a different kind of football. And Danny Rohl's proven during games several times when he's changed the formation during games where he's, seen a problem and sorted that problem and, went and picked up the points. And that's what I'm talking about with squad depth, in different types. So you've got, your flair, You've got guys that can come off the bench and make an impact. You've got guys of quality like Olsen, and I'm hoping to see Chuck Wenny have that bit of extra quality because they've paid decent money for him as well. 4 million, still a lot of money. And even Romans, the left back, Belgian under 21 internationalist, with everything to prove. A good move at the right time, but probably, as you said, Robert, a level above what we would have looked at in the summer. Because obviously the players, there was some. I heard you mention the show last night about the midfield that came from Blackburn and played with Leeds and stuff. I even forget his name because I expected big things from him, and he's absolutely, flopped in Scotland. So I think the quality definitely has risen. What we're looking at, and that can only enhance the squad. But as I say, the competitiveness has to be everything in this squad right now. They have to be fighting for each other. They have to be fighting for positions they're in currently at the moment, and fight to stay in them. And that competitiveness will breathe through the squad, and you'll get the players will consistently, because they're testing themselves, they're testing against the guy that can steal their place every week. So that only breeds competitiveness, mate, and competitiveness, breeds eagerness, and then so on and so forth, and that just creates a good winning mentality throughout the squad because they're all desperate, they're all aiming in the same direction, and that's one thing Danny Rohl's done as well, boys. We have to give him credit for. He's galvanised this squad. This squad looked dead in its knees. This squad, some of these players looked like well out of the picture, and Danny Rohl somehow has got the best out of the team that he can, and he's galvanised his squad, he's galvanised support. He's obviously got Andrew Kavanagh, purring like a kitten, getting money at him. So, as I said, Danny Rohl's kept his end of the bargain up, guys, and fair play to him, because I think we've got a cracking young German manager that probably going to do big things. He came with good pedigree, done some good jobs, and I know he's young and people had their doubts, but so far he showed me that he's a coach that it really excites me, as well as what we've seen on the pitch, mate.
Have you been surprised by that, Port, or are you surprised that it's happened this early? Is this in your expectations at all?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't because of the quality of squad, mate. I couldn't even see Jurgen Klopp coming in and doing anything with that squad. That's the God's honest truth. I didn't think, and Carlo Ancelotti could have come in and done anything in this squad. That's how far in the pecking order watching under Russell Martin. That's how I thought how poor we were. And guys like we used to trust, like Raskin, were well off it. Those players that we had in the squad that we knew were good and we knew had quality, but it was Russell Martin sucked the life at the club, mate. And Kavanagh knows they made a mistake. The 49ers board and the current board that's there know they made a mistake, and they remedied it, and I'm happy about that, because it's all right make the mistake, but to put your hands up, say you ballsed it up, and then replace it with a coach again that many people would have thought, oh no, another young coach, another young guy that's new, 34 years of age, new to the game, etc. But the difference was, he had a lot of pedigree behind him. He played at some of the biggest clubs. He was involved with the German national team. So there was something a bit different, but I will admit, I still was very, 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 very unsure, mate.
I don't think you're alone there, mate. GB, are you surprised that we're in this position we are in, given the fact that Danny Rohl wasn't a name that a lot of fans would have wanted in the first place? I know, as Port said, he had a history of coaching at Leipzig, German national team. You don't get those jobs for being a rubbish coach. So he's got something about him, but you're still surprised that he's managed to get, as Port said, the same group of players performing, but ultimately winning games, which again gives us as supporters belief that he can do it and the players can do it.
Aye, they're very, very surprised, Robert. I think like the whole team side of things, even Tav wasn't looking himself. Jack Butland was looking a bit shaky at times as well, and that's all seemed to have settled down. The Jaeger and stuff like that, when he was in the centre back position, Cornelius and stuff like that, it was all quite. There was always a kind of mistake in us, But over the past couple of weeks, we've started to look like a proper defensive structure there. There's an understanding. I think Ox touched on it, that he was shouting across to Fernandes the other night there, saying to him, don't be doing anything like that again, craziness, like when he was pushing too far forward and all that. So clearly there's a team spirit there that John Shooter feels comfortable doing that, telling Fernandes, considering the form that he's on now. And I think it's just keeping everybody in check. Like, let's not just get ahead of ourselves. Let's not do anything fancy. Stick to the instruction and we'll be successful throughout the game. So I think the manager's done really well. The best thing the manager done, right, and it's probably, it sounds a bit mental, but the best thing that he done as soon as he came in was pap on the suit. Now, probably across the world, they'll be people willing that should be nothing like that, doesn't matter. But Danny knew right away when he came in that was a symbol. It was like, I'm the manager, I'm the man, and I'm going to get this organised. And it's something about that. Like I touched on it with Ox the other week there as well. Like with Man United and stuff like that, when Dan Ferguson was, Dan Fletcher was getting interim manager and stuff like that. First thing he done was put him back on the suit because it annoyed the fans. So just these wee small things, just showing that who's the head. Like it's not just a guy coming out the pub with the trachea on. You know what I mean? It's that kind of way. It's actually there's a figurehead there, and it's to be respected. And that's respect comes with what it says, how you present yourself. And when Danny's walked in there with a suit on and all the rest of it, I mean, like he says, he's a young guy. He's had to walk into that dressing room with a lot of experienced football players and deal with them and bring them out of their shell and bring confidence back to a team. And then obviously he's rubbed off, and like I says, everybody around about, the press love him. I mean, you hear that press and stuff like that, they're all quite cheery to talk to him, and I think he's been smart that way as well. He's got them on side so that they will not start trying to draw out negativity all the time. And that wee thing as well at Christmas when he's giving out the chocolates to all the press and stuff like that as well. Like very, very clever. So like, I'm fully behind him. I really do hope he does it. I mean, I hope that these signings come in and we just keep pushing on, and elsewhere keep dropping points here and there. I'd love it to see it, but I think there's been too many scars for the previous seasons to get ahead of myself. I think once we get past, and I'm probably jumping ahead of myself, once we get past the next Old Firm game, then that's when I'll be looking to see where we're at and whether we're going to go all the way.
You take one game at a time, mate. As we always say, it's one game at a time. You never look too far ahead. But I think right now it's hard not to think of all the possibilities of what this season could bring, given where we were in October. To even be in conversation and contention of a title race is still remarkable. And if this was to go on and be a successful season or win the league title, it would be some league title to talk about because of where we were when he came in.
Let's go back just a wee bit before it, Robert, when they were looking for managers before him, and Gerrard was approached, and then Gerrard turned around and says not his, because it was the right timing. In my belief, it was due to Thirlwell and Stewart, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's why Gerrard never came. So we were in a precarious position where the job wasn't looking so attractive to managers, in my opinion, right? So that obviously Danny Rohl was in about that frame as well. So they went back to Danny, and luckily he said aye the second time, because there's many a man would have been like, well, no, I was interested, and he's went and looked elsewhere and spoke to other people when I came and spoke to you, and interviewed by you, and the lads come back, and as I said, first, he's not a yes man, guys. Let's. This is this is the way I see him. He's definitely not a yes man. I think he's got a lot to say when it comes to transfers and who will come into the club, who won't be coming into the club. You've heard him mention it in his presser about even the character. He's been phoning and speaking to coaches and managers, asking even about the character of the man, because when you play for Glasgow Rangers, it is a heavy shirt to wear. Under Rohl's tenure, Thirlwell and Stewart both left the club. I'm not saying that's. I'm not saying Danny Rohl could have done that, but I think they were the architects of their own downfall, obviously. But to come in when again there was no Stewart, there was no Thelwell to deal with. The signings and the targets, have been brought to him. He's got a say in that, which I've got to admit, I love that. I don't like this sort of modern. You're the first team coach of a club and you're told what players are signing. You don't really get to look at them. They look at stats and they look at videos of players. And we've all watched YouTube when you think you're buying a player that looks like Messi and it gets to the club and it's just a mess. You know what I mean? So no, I think we've got a young manager that's not a yes man, and he will do what's best for Danny Rowe first of all, and so he should. But he's also slowly but surely building a love and a reputation at our club, and the fans love him. The fans absolutely adore him, and rightly so, because he's changing the fortune of our club, guys. And if we keep behind this young guy, if we keep continuing, some big clubs are going to come calling eventually. We know that. We know where we're at as a club. That's basically the same as any signings we make. If the day they come here and be a success, our plan is to sell them for big money, and that's the way it'll be. But while we've got him, I'm glad to have him, and long may it continue, and may the form and his management and everything else he's doing roll on.
GB, another thing that he's done as well is he's recruiting now in this window players of a good calibre, a good physique to come into our game that we call out for. But one of the first things he done when he came in, he brought his backroom staff who he trusted, and he's added to it. He's obviously promoted Stevie Smith from the academy up to the first team because he felt he was a good fit. The players understood him. He knows the expectations. But then probably the biggest thing he's done is brought in the set piece coach, which has proved vital for us in the past few games. So his coaching staff have been doing tremendous work, but Danny's trusted them as well, and that's a big factor.
And it's I don't know how well he knew the set piece coach or anything like that, Robert, but it just shows you that he can spot talent. And this is why I'm excited about the signings. If I know there's been other people involved in the background, sourcing out this set piece coach and stuff like that, but I think obviously it's come down to him to kind of give the green light to a lot of things. So he's clearly been happy with how this guy presents himself and round about and how he's got to fit into his coaching staff. And then big one you touched on there was Stevie Smith. I mean, you thought he was just got to be the caretaker and then that's the end of it kind of thing. And yet, remember everybody kept asking him, are you interviewing for a Scottish coach to come in and help you and stuff like that? And eventually it just fizzled out and there was nothing said. And he's probably seen like Stevie Smith, to be honest, the experience that boy's got about dressing rooms, working underwater and all the rest of it. He was probably the perfect fit. He's been round about the bad times. He's been round about the good times. He's seen what kind of players are developing. He knows what it is to play for Rangers and stuff like that. So again, another clever appointment just to slip him in there, no change too much, and he's a friendly face about the place because I would imagine all the first team know who he is, as well. So keeps that kind of continuity there, rather than bringing somebody from the outside who's got to come in with like a battering ram, and they him to like Barry and the Jig and all the rest of it. But it could have came in and disrupted the place a bit. Whereas like Stevie Smith's been like a bit of the furniture kind of thing. So the boys would have just slotted in with that and they could have a laugh and a joke, but then there'd be probably a serious side that Stevie Smith would be saying to him, look, you're going up to Aberdeen, this is what they're like, you're going to Celtic Park, this is what it's going to be all about. So I think he's helped the manager that way as well. So again, manager's been very clever in how he's built his even backroom team. And it's amazing how he's done so many things. He's got the board on side, he's built his coaching team, and he's been able to build the shrapnel that's been left there for Russell Martin to build a team they know that's actually challenging for a title. Remarkable. And again, we've still not even got a chance to see his proper signings yet. So let's just hope that the signings are the icing on the cake, and it just takes us up another wee notch, and we go on to blow teams away. Probably starting with tomorrow as well, Robert.
Aye, we'll come on to the game tomorrow night after the tune. We'll look ahead to that Scottish Cup tie against Annan at Ibrox. But Port, as GB rightly said there, mate, sometimes you do all the looking around for a player or a coach, and sometimes it's just on your doorstep. And that works for signings as well, as you say earlier on in the show. Scottish market, players in the league. Also works for coaches as well, as we did with Stevie Smith.
I think you need an era, you know, somebody that's been there, done it, like Gary says, you know, be there, done it, wore a t-shirt. And Stevie Smith ticks a lot of them boxes. He also has that link with the under 21s. So he was coaching them as well. So he knows who's performing down there, and it keeps that sort of bridge between the 21s, any boys that are playing well, getting promoted to the first team squad. So I think it made sense. I think it made sense totally to get, you know, let's promote promote within. You know, let's show there's a path. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, at any level. So if under 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s to 21s, if you're coaching any of these young men, coaching 21s, there's a pathway to become a coach in the first team. And I know people were probably raving, get Billy Dodds and get Neil McCann back, get Barry Ferguson's a number 2 and that carry on. But I think that's what I'm saying earlier on. Danny Rohl's no yes man, and I think he's quite a strong character himself as well. So sometimes it's all about matching up, people matching up. Barry Ferguson, strong character. He wouldn't have handled being a number 2 to Danny Rohl. There's just certain individuals just can't be put together because it's like pouring petrol. Throwing match on petrol. It wouldn't work. The best thing that he was allowed to do was bring in people that he knew, people that worked with in previous at RB Leipzig. The boy Sasha, I can't remember his surname, sorry. He was playing in the lower divisions in Germany, finished his career pretty quickly, and went on to doing sports science, fitness, that side of the game, which excited him, and done his badges. And Danny Rohl has brought him in because it's someone he knew, a lieutenant, somebody he trusted, somebody to lean on. Bit similar to what Gerrard done with McAllister. They picked their squad, they picked their guys around them. Their generals, the guys they can lean on at times, the guys with the experience. I think it was clever the way the Stephen Smith thing worked out, mate. I think it was very clever that they used somebody from within, and as I said, that link for the 21s to the first squad, you get that knowledge, and which can always keep Danny Rohl up to date with. And as you said, it's that continuity, Robert, what it's like to go and play at Pittodrie, Celtic Park, Dundee United, all the horrible places that it's not Hearts, Gorgie Road, it's not all tough grounds to go to. You know what I mean? And we've got someone there that's, probably informing Danny Rohl constantly. Danny Rohl's probably picking his brain constantly what it's like at these places. And he's probably the same man in the Mora because Danny Rohl's not playing against a team like this division for that division yet. So we know what the fight like. It's their cup final. They've got a big match against Rangers under the lights at Ibrox. So that's their cup final. And we've seen these teams come to Ibrox and really give a tough time at times, lads. So, let's see how Danny Rohl adapts and let's see how the squad adapts to this. I expect them to blow them away, but in current form. But let's not make this a wee banana skin. Let's not make it tougher than it has to be. And under Danny Rohl, I just can't see that happening, Robert. I've got a lot of trust in him.
Aye, I think not only has he earned it, mate, he's merited it. I think, as you said, GB's touched on the night as well. The job he's done so far, he's earned the backing. He's deserved the backing in this window in particular to go and have a right good go at this second half of the season. He's got us into a position where we can make it an interesting title race. We can go and get a Scottish Cup and with signings that are coming in. As we heard, it might not be finished yet when we get the third one through though on Skov Olsen. It might be another one or two as we think that's what he's alluding to in his press conference. But It'll be interesting to see what positions they are, because Port, you've touched on midfield and a striker. GB, if there was one or two more, where do you see it?
Probably another midfielder. That sounds mental, but considering we've probably got Brajami still to come back as well. But the like Ascar, Brajami, Oche, Diamande, they're all about the kind of same old. We're needing probably like another kind of Barn in there. A kind of similar signing like that, maybe like a loan for there. Then I'm with Port. As much as Chimete's done well, Miovski's kind of went off the boil. I really do hope he gets back to that form that he had just as it go no well. I think he ended up with a stomach bug or something like that it was. But you know that game where he scored 2 goals, it just looked as though he came alive then, and that was him got to kick on for there. And Sosloy falls out of the team, and then Chimerte takes his opportunity and holds down his place. So I'm probably with Port that we should be looking at a striker, but again, what kind of striker are you got to get in the January transfer window? Is it got to be a guy that's like Danilo, sitting for choice, not getting a game? We've been linked with that boy at Hibs. He's an alright finisher, but again, is he any better than what we've already got? I don't know. The right side, the right defence looks alright. Probably maybe another centre back if I'm being greedy. But if I had to prioritise, I would say just somebody else, a bit of steel into the midfield, because I think that's where where's working the hardest, because that's been the kind of driving force. I think the other boys in front there, like say Moore, Chimete, and Gassama, they've had to just do the running, but it's the midfield that's been driving. Like I say, the boys like say Raskin setting up Chimete, Asgard getting his goals, getting assist as well. Like I say, Barn was doing his job, so I think that's a critical area for Danny Rohl to strengthen it.
I think, given the injury to Connor Barron, I agree with yourselves. Another midfielder. I'm going to go on a different tangent, GB, from yourself. I know you're going with the kind of steely midfielder. I think we need a playmaker, a creative midfielder, somebody that can find the pass, break the lines. Mikey Moore, for me, can do it from a 10 position, but I think we need somebody from a kind of central midfield, halfway line, box runner. Somebody that can just create those wee kind of fine margins that could change a game on its head. And I think a striker as well, but the only reason I think we'll get a striker is if we can get Danilo out on loan or permanent. But we touched on it last night, he's still got 2.5 years on his contract, would you believe? So it would take real something for a team to come in and take him off your hands now. Even if we offered him a 3-year deal, as Ox was saying last night, it's only 6 months extra than you're on just now, probably on less wages. So I'd like another striker if we can get one out, but I don't see anybody taking Danilo off us. So I think another position would be that left wing, simply because I like Mikey Moore in the 10 position. I think he's got the qualities to play in a kind of role that gives him freedom. But for me, Gassama's not hit the heights as expected. Surprisingly, under Danny Rohl as well, who he previously worked with. So I think a left winger and a central midfielder. Port Bear, just before we go to tune, your thoughts, mate?
I understand where you're coming from, that, Robert. I mean, there is some parts of the jigsaw and some movement that could happen going the other way, mate. You've got Bruges and Villarreal interested in Gassama. You've got, I think it's Leicester and possibly Wolves, I think, that are interested in Kieran Dowell now. So again, I think there'll still be some players going the other way, Robert. I think, Gary touched on it earlier on. I like Gassama, but he flatters to receive a lot of times, and he frustrates the life at me at times, because I think when he's beat the man, he should be putting the ball in right away. And Chermiti and Miovski would be scoring a lot more, but he's got to chop back onto that other foot again and then try and take them on again. And it frustrates the life at me, but I do see his quality. And he's not been linked with other clubs because he's poor. It's because they've seen other clubs being alerted to his form at Sheffield Wednesday probably, and his form at Rangers. I know Rangers are also linked with. Don't get me wrong, there's another 4 or 5 teams linked with this young Hungarian player, Dima Regic, Salzburg, Copenhagen and Olympiacos are all pushing to sign this young guy who's got 14 league goals this season so far, plays on the left wing. An out-and-out winger, speed demon, Hungarian international, already at 22. So that's someone else that's been linked. So they're definitely looking forward line. They're definitely looking to bolster, with pace and goals in that forward line for this title push, Robert. I do agree. But as I said, Danilo, another one. I think I do agree with you on that. I think if we to bring another one of them, another striker in, I think Danilo has to be thinking about moving. And he should be thinking about his own career. I mean, let's hope he's not one of these players that's going to sit here for the next 2.5 years on the bench and just take wages at Rangers. A money thief. I want to think a lot better than that to be Danilo. Are we going to get the 6 million back? Maybe no. We maybe need to take a massive hit on him to get him to go and join another club. Maybe somebody in Holland will come back in for him because he seems to do pretty well over there. That's why we bought him. But I get what you mean. I know by a midfielder, a proper number 8. A box-to-box guy that's going to, again, can break the lines, go beyond the striker, and maybe add 10 goals. We've not a midfielder that's, scored 10 goals in a long, long time. I know it's out the realms of possibility. I'm not saying it's impossible, but a player like Gascoigne, that sort of player that, could break the midfield, get his own goals, but also open, as you said, Robert, break the lines and open up defences. We've got very, as Gary touched on, we've got very same midfielders. They're all hard working grafters. They can dig. They win up, they turn over a lot of balls. They win a lot of balls, but they're all wee, what I always call the game water carriers. But it would be nice to get somebody that can put their foot on the ball, and spray the ball about, make passes, make killer passes, and as I said, score 10 to 15 goals a season from midfield. That would take us a long, long way, definitely, mate.
Aye, you're right, mate. You're right. Well, we've reached that time of the night, so what we'll do is we'll pick this chat up after the tune. So get yourself some mute, and we'll hear what Fox has picked out tonight.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers again for that, Fox. I thought Fox's classics only came in biscuits, but they do it in songs as well, lads.
Aye, that sounds
Oh.
drum marching up and doing that living room, isn't it? Dun, 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 dun.
You can take the uniform off now, Port.
I probably toe tap her, mate. I was sitting here and my neighbours are banging up on me saying to shut the fuck up. Oops, toe tap.
Oh, yellow card, mate. Come on,
No,
you.
that's
oh,
not.
oh.
VAR that. That's a red. That's a straight red.
Well, it depends if Kevin Clancy's the referee, but that's another subject. Anyway,
Aye, exactly. I apologise to the kids for listening to the show.
aye, me, thanks. GB, Port's right. There's as much as we're doing transfer business incoming, there is a lot of players there that are surplus to requirements, earning wages with no contribution towards the team. We know who they are. They've done it for many a seasons now. But we've got to try and get them off the books somehow. And as Port said, Leicester and Wolves are rumoured to be in for double. Whether that's something now or a pre-contract agreement. Hopefully it's now. Who else is there? Finlay Curtis, possibly going on loan to Kilmarnock. I think that would be a good move for him. Tonight it broke that Aberdeen are looking at Lyle Cameron on loan. Motherwell looking at Enciala because the name across the city recalled Stephen Welsh. So there's starting to be a few names getting mentioned again out the door, mate. And I think that's important as well, just to get boys who are going to be here next season game time as well, but also others off the books.
Just ask the 2 years. What's happening with Lyle Cameron? Like, there's Barnes injured, so is he no like the wee workhorse that we could get into there? I don't understand why the boys know. I mean, the boy was playing in Europe and everything. He scored a goal in Europe, and he was showing form. In fact, he was probably one of the players that kind of shone during Russell Martin's time, and yet Danny Rohl just doesn't seem to fancy him for some reason. I don't understand if we let him, maybe give him minutes and stuff like that. If he goes out to Aberdeen, I can understand that. But I mean, what happens at the end of that loan then? Is that basically is time up already after a season that we're going to ship that boy out? I just, we'll never probably know, but it would be good to understand where that signings went wrong, because see at Dundee, that boy was, I'm sure he got the captaincy and stuff like that, and he was scoring goals in critical games for them. And he's a Rangers fan, so I don't get why there's a need to kind of end this relationship already. Do you know?
No, mate. I know there's a dispute still about the fee you get paid to Dundee. I know that kind of makes it a political thing, and the boys caught in the middle, two clubs not coming to an agreement. But that shouldn't really impact on his position in the team. I think it's alarming, as you say, that we've got injuries in midfield, and he's not even on the bench because Kieran Dowell and Matondo, who have been strangers to the club, let's be fair, they're on the bench before him. So is it simply put that Danny Rohl just doesn't see him fitting into his system, doesn't see him good enough for the club, or is there more to it that, as GB says, we'll never know?
I think it's only my opinion, and as I said, the listeners and anybody can phone in and have it out with me. I don't think he fits into Danny Rohl's system. I think Danny Rohl, as he's proven with his signings in January, there's a physical aspect playing in Scotland, and there's also he's looking for big lads, guys. He's looking for units, and in their midfield, I think if you look across Europe, he's quite a diminutive wee guy, but not quick enough to play in the wings. He can't get a game in number 10 position because you've got Mickey Moore there. I just think it's an absolute as easy as Danny Rohl doesn't fancy him as a manager. Now, that's not a bad, reflection on Danny Rohl, because he's got a right as a manager to pick. He's got a system, he's got an idea in his head, he's got, a theory on how he wants the club to look and how in his mould. And so far, for the sort of digging I've been doing about these players, every one of the players he's signed so far for this transfer window are 6 foot plus. And I think he's trying to build. Look at Fernandes. Look at there's other big players in the team. Cornelius as well is big. You've got Suter. I think he's trying to build a team that can not only mentally deal with playing with Rangers, but physically can stand up in the Scottish League, and eventually, when we get back to the European form that we know we're capable of, I think it's purely that, guys. I think it's purely the fact that he's just not suitable to Danny Rohl's idea on football and his footballing system. Because, and I know people say Conor Barron, sorry, is pretty small. Raskin's pretty small, but to get about the pitch, they're physical. They're just made of different stuff. Like Leo Cameron TV, who I do like, by the way. I do like him, guys. I remember the goal scored against Europe, and I do like his work ethic. He's a wee workhorse, but we've got too many of, like I said earlier on, we've got too many of the same type midfielders, and he's just similar to what we've got. But he's not going to get a game in front of Nico Raskin or Conor Barron on current form. Diamandi's ahead of him, because it's where Danny Rohl sees him playing. Is he a one that's going to fight out for a number 10 position or a wide position? I think he's quick enough for the wings. And again, where's he going to get a game in the central or midfield, especially if you're planning adding, you've added the boy Tucci, a big unit, plays number 6. So that's probably going to push Raskin and Barron or Diamandi, who is going to be there, forward a wee bit. And the big fella will probably just sit in front of the back 4 and be a 6. That's the way I see it. So where does Leo Cameron fit into that? And if we believe that he's going to add another midfielder, then that pushes Leo Cameron back further, guys. I just think it's just unfortunate. The move was great. He got the move to Rangers, but I just think under Danny Rohl, Rangers are going a different direction, and it's purely that's what I think. I just think there's just more quality guys in the team before Leo Cameron. That's only my opinion. As I said, people can phone in and give me their views and tell me what they think, but that's just pure what I think it is. Nothing sinister, just the fact that he's well in the pecking order. So you may as well get him out and get him playing, and maybe get him sold, whatever, but don't waste the boy's career if you're not planning and using him.
I honestly think he'll be a signing. I honestly think he'll be a signing that will come back to bite us in the backside. I think he'll join, like, say, a Hearts eventually or something like that, and he'll be one of the, like a Shinnie, what Shinnie's done with Aberdeen. He'll end up starting out for a team, and we'll be looking back on that, like we'll end up having to like chase him for like 4 million or 3 million off a Scottish team again, and we had the opportunity there to just have him for free. I don't understand why we've no given him the chance. The only thing that's popping in my head now while we're talking about it is that, like, he was a free, and then, like, when you look at Asgard's like form throughout the whole season, it's not really like justified a start in that position, right? But he's always seemed to have made a bench, or he's got minutes and stuff like that in front of Lyle Cameron. And I just wonder if it's because, like I said, there's been an outlay on Asgard and he's an internationalist and stuff like that, and that's why he's getting obviously a nod. And don't get me wrong, Asgard, he came up with goals there recently and stuff, but again, he's still no justifying his dough for me yet fully. But again, on that, if it's on the basis of how you're training during the week and your effort and that you're putting in, then I honestly can't see why Asgard always got in front of him. But it can only come down to, like I says, this thing with Dundee, I think, or it's just a price tag thing, that because Asgard's an internationalist, you know what I mean? Because nobody else has really grabbed that position properly where they're playing, where Asgard's playing. And yet, that's probably the perfect position for Lyle Cameron. And yet, that's what he'd done so well at Dundee. He would grab the ball, he'd run forward and score goals. And I don't know, I think it's one that I think in years to come we'll not so much regret it, because if we're winning titles and all the rest of it, we'll probably not remember them. But I just think it'll end up being one of these players that we'll end up seeing pop up somewhere, like a Scotty Arfield. He'll end up going to the like Premier League or something like that, and or like Championship, and eventually applying his trade, and then like I says, we'll look at it and go, God, we had him at one point.
It'll certainly be interesting to see how the next few weeks pan out. I think we're now halfway through the window, 2nd of February, I think it closes. So it'll be interesting to see who else comes in, of course, but also who goes out. But Port, it's not just on the field. There's been some changes of late. Jim Gillespie obviously been appointed as the new CEO, and the current interim CEO, Fraser Thornton, has been elected to the SPFL board as well, replacing the outgoing Patrick Stewart. So changes getting made at the board level as well, mate, which has took its time, but rightly so, to get the right people in, and hopefully Jim Gillespie is that right person.
I've been reading about it today, mate. A lot of people have got sort of mixed views on him, because obviously he was offered the job a wee while back. Rangers were in a bit of turmoil, and St Mirren were a good place. He did a good job at St Mirren. He's also involved with other things outside of football, and maybe it just wasn't the right time. And why should you possibly ruin your reputation and come to the Rangers when we were in the state we were in at the time? So, times have changed. We're under new ownership. We've got the club going in the right direction. We've got an exciting young manager, that's proven his worth. And obviously Jim Gillespie's decided, I'll take the job. He comes with a lot of experience. There was other candidates looked at, but I think what really struck for probably Kavanagh and Port Rangers is his knowledge of the Scottish game. He's been done a fantastic job at St Mirren, if we're honest. St Mirren have had a couple of the recent cup win, obviously, under his tenure. Aye, but there is people raising their eyebrows, mate, because he previously says no. But I get it. Again, like I said earlier on, he's got his own reputation to think about, and at the time, and he thought what was best for Jim Gillespie was to stay where he was. You know what I mean? So, I welcome him, and I hope he becomes part of this successful Danny Rohl's machine, and we push on further again under Jim Gillespie's tenure, mate.
Aye, here, mate. GB, again, it goes back to my point earlier on. Sometimes you can go far and wide, look for the perfect candidate, and it could be on your doorstep. And I know, when as Port's saying, he knocked it back before, but I think it's like any job. If you get offered something, you look at it, and if it's not all sunshine and roses on the other side, you want reassurances before going to it. Coming into the squad now, and the team now, and the club, as I said earlier, there's a different place, there's a better atmosphere, there seems to be a togetherness off the park as well as on the park. You can see that Danny Rohl mentions it, the conversations with Kavanagh in particular, his coaching staff, everybody that's involved. So it appeals more now because it is in a better position. So I've got no qualms about somebody saying no when it's not going well, but when it is, you want to be part of it.
Aye, it's easier. I think some of even the signings that's came in, they've said that it's good to come in now because we're challenging. So maybe that's helped us sign these certain players that are coming in as well, because we're in a good place. I do wonder, like, if we were miles away from a title challenge, that would we have got these players in that we've got in now? We'll never know. I mean, but the Gillespie thing, the Jim Gillespie thing, I honestly don't know too much about him, to be honest. All I know is that the whole, like, he worked at St Mirren and obviously managed them really well. They've got them running well as a club and stuff like that. He's got experience in the game, which does help. But the biggest thing for me, it's a clean slate. He's obviously took the job this time round but he needs to come in and, like I says, he can't make the same mistakes as his predecessor, because, like I says, he's got to, again, do what Danny Rohl done. He's got to get the fans on board. He's got to be strong, like his counterparts have been across the city, with like SFA, stuff like that. He's got to build relationships as well, and he's got to have a bit of influence in the game, and he's got to speak up for us when we're needing him, and again, he's got to call out certain things when we're doing things wrong as well. So there's got to be a balance there. But I think, like I say, the whole getting the fans on board, Kavanagh's clearly happy with him with the appointment, because I would imagine he's met with him a few times, and he's laid it out what he's expecting for his new CEO. But the biggest thing for me is that, like I say, he's able to handle the kind of trash that gets flung at Rangers. For too long, like I say, we've been sitting back and there's been no challenging certain decisions in games. As we've seen with like Jack Bolton getting kicked in the head, that's seemingly allowed, but yet you can do a 250 challenge on somebody and it's play on kind of thing. So we need them to come in and be strong in that department. I'm not saying he can go in and make enemies all over the place, but like I says, you've got to call things out, because clearly the manager can't do it, the players can't do it, because they end up getting punished for it. But as a club, we've got to keep the pressure on these topics and not just let them fizzle away into the background.
Aye, Porty certainly
Just
seems
add
like
to
a
that,
guy that. Aye, you go, mate. Can you go?
No, just, when you think, I was reading today in regards to Jim Gillespie, I looked at it on the Rangers official site, and he was part of the, on the board of directors since Mullen, just to give Gary Murray an insight. He became the vice chairman in 2001. During his tenure, he's contributed to a period of sport and success. The club have strengthened the club's financial standing. Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Barath have been heavily involved in the selection process. And Andrew Kavanagh basically said on the Rangers website that when they spoke to some exceptional candidates across Scotland and Europe, and consistently Jim stood out for his understanding of what Rangers stands for and the standards the club demands. So I think they were obviously impressed with his ability to lead people, connect with the club and the supporters, and to operate, at a high level day to day. And that's what anybody that pulls on the Rangers shirt, the Rangers, manager suit, the CEO, the chief exec, any one of them have to be driving these standards every day. So you did mention that, guy, you've hit the nail on the head, mate, and that seems to be what stood out through the whole selection process and all the people that interviewed, that this guy has, the ability to lead. When he worked at the Kibble, you had thousands of staff, and he led that very successfully. St Mirren, he comes with good pedigree. He's a businessman. He knows how to make things better. And I think that's exactly what we want to hear. The club already has a strong aligned leadership group, and Jim Gillespie's going to add to that, in my opinion. Again, with a massive Scottish influence, which I think's massively important. Because if you remember back to Kavanagh and Pedrag Barras' initial speeches when they first took over the club and stuff, they wanted to build it, in the background. They didn't want to be over here, micromanaging. They wanted to be left to, the guys like Stewart and Thelwell, who they thought were the correct candidates at the time. They wanted just to be in the background. If you need me, you know where I am, when it comes to transfer windows, etc. But I don't think they wanted to be as hands-on, and they've obviously picked this candidate. And let's get behind them, like we've done with Danny Rohl, and as I said, hopefully this team and this management team, the board at board level, coaching level, and on the park just keeps going from strength to strength. So I think what I've read, as I said, I'm a bit like you guys. I didn't know much about him until what I read today, but what I've read about him, it comes with pedigree and knowledge on how to make things better.
I think Port, as you touched on there, the Kibble aspect as well, working in the community. And we know that's a big thing for the owners, to this fan engagement they want to do. They've obviously got ideas for the future of expanding Ibrox, the surroundings, everything involved, the kind of fan base stuff. So the fact that the guy comes with a pedigree of being heavily involved in the community and Paisley and the Kibble, I think that kind of stands out as well. It's something that he can bring to the table for us going forward in the future to get the fans' voice heard first and foremost, and make the right business decisions as well as footballing decisions for your club, mate, in the future. And we'll see where it takes us. But of course, we do have a game tomorrow night, lads. It's weird to say, a Friday night game under the lights at Ibrox as we start our Scottish Cup campaign at home to Annan Athletic. So Danny Rohl had his press conference earlier on as well today, obviously. So get yourselves on mute and we'll hear Danny speaking ahead of tomorrow night's game.
In terms of the title race, can you see this going right to the wire, right to the end of the season with these three teams?
Yeah, it's funny because yesterday we spoke about the preseason. We had a meeting about the camps and the friendly games, all those things. And then finally I said, my belief at the moment is we will have on the last match day maybe a race with three teams, and you can be top, you can be second, you can be third. It's nice for the supporters. And for us, we have to prepare. We have to work on it. I think in the last weeks we worked hard to have such a situation. But we know as well it's still 16 games to go where you have to deliver again and again. And let's see what we can do.
Danny, you said there of Scott Olsen it would be a great loan deal. Would there be an option to buy at the end of the season?
I think to speak too much about if, it's difficult, but look, we just to the facts. I think he was a big signing for Wolfsburg, and then we always try to make sure if we can get players in to have also a chance for permanent. I think this is general our topic. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible. At the moment I can't tell you more details about this.
Yeah, are you confident you could get the best out of him? Because he seemed to have not had the best experience in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I think this is, you see the potential from players. I think we have some good role models from the last couple of weeks now that helps us well to get some players here, to see how we can develop them in the short term. And if we can bring the best out of him, then he is, of course, a weapon on his position.
Danny, I think the fans are quite encouraged by the start the club has made to the January window. It looks like 2 in already, another one to come. How many more do you think you can do beyond this? Do you think that there's still scope to add even further to the squad this month?
I cannot tell you exactly a number, but we are still looking for some more positions. Yeah, I think we have also, this is not a secret with the injury from Connor. It changed a little bit also what we need as well on this position. We have strong players, we have with Tochi a new one, but still a long way to go, and we have to make sure that our midfield is strong.
How encouraged are you by that? I mean, this club have spent a lot of money in the summer. The fact that they're willing to reinvest again and spend a lot of money again this month, I mean, how encouraged are you by that?
Yeah, I think it's also the responsibility for me now, when the club support me and invest in the squad, that we get the best out of the squad then. In the summer I was not here, but when we look now after 6 months, then you see still players, we hit the target. I think maybe in October we thought, is the player really ready? But now you see the players are able to play here, and I think this is also important to understand. I can tell a lot of examples from the players, but at the moment you have really the feeling there are players they can play for Rangers, and the shirt looks a little bit more lighter than 3 months ago. You have more confidence, we go to difficult places and we can take results. But it was yesterday, and now we have to show this again in the next games.
With regards to Friday night, Danny, the last time Rangers were involved in the Scottish Cup at Ibrox Queen's Park, delivered a huge shock. The players who were here and experienced that, do you get a sense that they are determined to put that right, and are you determined to make sure that lessons have been learned from that?
Yeah, big respect to every opponent. I think this is important. You saw this in the last couple of days. Yesterday, Real Madrid out of the cup, Crystal Palace out of the cup. You never know. You have to be very focused on this game as well. What I make sure, we will rotate some positions. This is normal because some players deserved also to get a chance, and I'm convinced even the players they come now in, they are ready for this game and should be ready. I think this is also part, and we prepare this very serious. We use this week, of course, also for some load management. Some players will be not in the squad tomorrow because they played a lot, but cup is a cup game, and every opponent can defend and play with heart and passion, and this is what we expect tomorrow, and we have to break them down, hopefully as soon as possible, and then we can create chances and goals. But at first you have to put the same effort in like always.
Danny, you spoke previously about your side having quite a clear setup defensively. Now you're keeping a lot of clean sheets, but maybe you want to see a bit more improvement on the ball. A player like Andreas is the hope that he can take you up a level, take advantage of some of the moments you are creating.
Yeah, I think in the final third, about decision making, we have still spaces for improvements. We saw this even against Aberdeen. We come in some good moments, but we had not enough players in the box. I think this is then also running into the box, have 4 or 5 players around the dangerous areas, and then to prepare the final action. This is sometimes where we miss some good opportunities. I think general, the Aberdeen games, for example, we had a lot of good ball winning situations, but we find not always the right solutions in transition moments. But of course, the new transfers and the new signings should also help us in this area, that we can create more chances to score. But I'm still happy with the clean sheets, and this is, I think, at the moment also a big basic for us.
You spoke a lot about physicality when it comes to Chukwueze, Romans, potentially Scott Olsen. How big a factor was that for you, adding that coming into this January window? Why is it so important for you?
Yeah, I think it's always important when you know the league a bit more, what you have to expect. I think not just the league, even when you played against Roma, you saw a big difference from the physical side. But when I look yesterday to the training pitch, then I see, my team is growing, and we have more bodies and more physicalities. This is great. I think you need a good balance. But football is about intensity, physicality. To win duels, if you can do this, then you need around also some players that have this X factor.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers again, Fox, for that. Yes, folks, come join us. Come give us your thoughts on the 2 signings we've made so far. The Skov Olsen deal seems to be a matter of when, not if, it will be confirmed. Hopefully, maybe in the next 24 hours, we'll see some announcement from there. And your thoughts ahead of tomorrow night's game, home to Annan. GB, a lot of it, again, in that interview part there was more about the transfers, but look at the game tomorrow night, mate. Myself and Ox touched on it last night in terms of how to approach the game. You've got to go and play it. You've got to go and win it. But I think he's alluded to there, we'll certainly see some changes in the side.
Robert, agree, mate. They've got to. I think I'm on Bridges' side in the sense that it's full strength, mate. But maybe with the presser, I've seen that it was Kelly. It was doing the players' presser. So maybe he's got to get the nod. But apart from that, I would go as strong as possible, mate. Go and win the game in the first half, 5-0, and then make the changes at half time and hopefully get another couple of goals in the second half, mate. But I want us to go out and make a statement tomorrow night. And they hear me on, and they're a nice wee club and all that, but it's no mercy. It's like the old Cobra Kai saying, it's no mercy the more we go out there and we like I says, we send a statement to Scottish football that we're up for this. We're up for going for a double. I mean, let's keep the, like you were saying, the feel good factor, the momentum going, and put pressure on elsewhere. Keep eyebrows getting raised elsewhere, mate. So I think I'd be very disappointed, mate, if we go into tomorrow night and we've made too many changes and it ends up just a 1-0 result. I will get through the tie, but I would much rather is go in there and bring down the hammer and get a comfortable 4-0 result or something like that tomorrow night, which would, I think, breed even more confidence into the team.
But it's trying to strike that balance, as GB says, of keep momentum going by going your full strength team. But as Danny said, we've played a lot of games. You've got to load management for some players. Some won't be in the squad. So it is a fixture that you look at and say you can afford to do it as long as you win the game, obviously. But it's a fixture that you can get away with it compared to a league game. But again, you've still got to strike the balance of having the right team on the park to go and win the game effectively and efficiently.
You know, let's call it Rohl's revolution, right? Yeah, I'm with Gary on this. I'd like to I understand about player management, understand about, protecting players, getting players rest when rest needing done. And we are playing in Ireland, right? But just having the back of your head that Queen's Park result that happened under Clermont, probably the worst ever, result in our history. And I always believe in it. Never write off the underdog because these banana skins, if they're not treated right, and if you listen to Rohl's interview there, he's treating this as serious as he treats every other game. The only thing he mentioned was there will be some changes, but the same preparation, the same probably watching videos and watching how they play and scouting them is probably went into every other game he's played, no matter whether it be Roma or whether it be Aberdeen, Celtic, and the guy just seems to me like the ultimate professional, mate. You heard him there. He said that it'll be treated serious. It's not, it's a cup game. It's a cup game to go to the next round. It's another potential chance to win silverware. And I think that this guy is so desperate to win silverware for Rangers that I don't think you'll see a lot of changes. I think you'll see maybe 2 or 3, but you'll still see, I think at the very start especially, the main spine of the team. And then as Gary says, if we get comfortable, then we can take these players off and further rest them. But for me, I just like to go out and get the tie done and dusted. Players through it safely and on to the next one. I'm with you, Robert, on this game at a time. That's the way I've been treating it since Rohl came in, because that's what he's constantly slammed home to us. Look, let's just treat it a game at a time. But as his knowledge of the game in Scotland is growing, like you touched on there as well, he understands. That's how I touched on about physicality in your team. We were a very, very small side. We used to get bullied quite a lot. We lost a lot of games in the engine room because we're quite lightweight in there. And he's seen his squad grow as in size, he says, but also in stature, because he's looking at his squad now and his team and going, right, now look at the amount of 6 foot plus guys I've got. It's a Bridgeman thing. Bridgeman used to, he still does. He goes on about it all the time. And he must be so happy Manny Fernandez at 6'7" or whatever he is, just a big guy that's strong in the air and goes and wins, absolutely clears out everything. Bridgeman's been calling for it for Rangers for ages. So he has, since I come onto the show, Bridgeman's been saying about the physicality of the squad's been not up to it the Bridge expects. And, if you look at the squad now, that's changing. And if you look throughout Europe, you see a lot of big physical teams. Especially, I used to notice it a lot in Europe, Robert, Gary. I used to notice it a lot in Europe when we were playing teams who were quite small compared to these big, like your Italian teams and the German teams. They were all big, physical guys, but very technical. And you're like, wow, you can carry yourself at 6 foot plus and still be quick across the grass and strong and physical and have a few tricks in the bag as well. You know what I mean? So Danny Rohl's obviously taking that German model and he's bringing it to Rangers, guys. That's the way I see it. He's making us like the old Mercedes, the Audi. Very, very reliable and a very, very strong team. and long may it continue. But just remember, don't underestimate Aaron. Don't let it be banana skin. Just remain professional. Go and get the game won, and we move on to the next one. Simple as that.
Right, okay, so we'll try and fling it together then. If you two guys are going to go almost full strength, agree that Kelly will be in goal?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I think so as well. So go with you two with your strongest team. You going as a back four, GB, Port, Tavernier, Suter, Fernandez, Magoma. Is that your four?
That's what I'd start with, mate. Yep. Not got much choice really at the back.
No, I mean, like Giga maybe, but I don't really want to kind of mess up the apple cart now. I'd rather keep that defence the way it is. I think that's just bubbling away nicely.
Is there a case for Max Aarons to come in for either Tavernier or Magoma if he's talking about load management? With injury to Sterling, Roman's not fit yet.
Maybe Aaron's at right back then. Maybe Aaron's at right back and rest the captain. He's 33. He's a captain. Load management for him. I don't think at Magoma's age you need load management. I think that young man is fit as a butcher's dog. So I think you just let that boy keep developing. Let him just give him as many games as we can, because I think we're seeing the more games that young man's getting, the more he's improved.
Okay, midfield, Raskin, Diamondi. And who's your third? Asgard, or does Chukwueze start?
Probably Asgard. We'll probably start with Asgard, I would say, mate, just for continuity. And if, as I said, everything's going well and we're 2-3-0 up, you maybe see the big fella coming on and getting some minutes later on in the second half.
I think that'll be the swap, wouldn't it? Like, I think if no matter what's happening in the game, like second half or whatever, if it's still just like 1-0, I think that'll be the swap. It'll be Asgard half and the new boy on. Oh.
Okay, I think we've been joined by our Andy. Evening, Andy.
How's you doing, Robert? All right, son?
Not bad, mate.
Who's on GB and Port Bear on?
Yes.
How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing all right, boys. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well.
You said recover for Tenerife?
I'm still in Tenerife yet, GB. I'm still in the Reef last night.
The party goes on then, huh?
The troops are doing. The young team's doing. They're doing it too. And I'm too old now. I'm up there. I'm on the
veranda.
I'm up drinking all what's left. Drinking the Grey Goose and whatever beers left. They're doing that strip getting ripped off. Some rotten. You know what I mean, €6 for a bottle of one of the Bacardi breeders. I said, no, I'm not the road. No, hey, but you're all right. But I heard you earlier on there. I would try and keep. See, you're talking about the outlaw, I'd try and keep Curtis, we Finlay, and I'd try and keep Cameron as on the bench. Try and get rid of what I did with now. See if we can get rid of what I did with. I can't, it's a hard day, but I'd rather keep we Finlay, Curtis, and Cameron for our bench, because they know what it's all about. Because I think it's going to be a long slog now. See if you know to the end of the season. You're going up to Aberdeen, well, we're doing all right Aberdeen, but you're up to in a month's time, you're going to Petrodjag, you're going to Paradise. Hey boys can come off eventually, days a turn. I was still like there are 2 signings in before the end of the season, before the end of the windy, but they were all right. I would have, I wouldn't play Tavernier. I would have the Aarons in there as a right back, but I think we're going to keep Curtis and Cameron. Just my personal opinion. What gives you an idea? They're going to go there for 3-1. They might do a game with Kelly or whoever they're going to. So, what do you think of that yourself, boys? What's your thoughts on that?
I'll take it to the lads. I think out of the two of them, I think Finlay Curtis could get more game time at Kilmarnock than Cameron's probably going to get at Aberdeen, if I'm being honest, just based on the players they've got at each club respectively. But I'll go to Port Bear and then GB can come in on Cameron and Curtis, mate. Port Bear.
Hi, Andy, how you doing, mate? I'd said my bit earlier on Leo Cameron, I just think with the current Rangers new signing midfield, and I do believe they'll add another central midfielder, mate. I just don't think there's any space for the young man. I think, and I do like him. I did like some of his early games that I saw him. I understood why we signed him. Because I've always believed we should have a Scottish core, and I still say that to this day. But I just believe he's going to fall down the pecking order, mate, pretty far. And I would like to see the boy be at the club that he loves and just sit there and sit on the bench and bench for him week in, week out, mate. And I know we've got cup games like against Annan, and these are the games you'd expect Leo Cameron to be thrown in. But I just think Danny Rohl's just going in a different direction in terms of how he wants his midfield to look. And I think it's more to do with the physical thing, mate. I think he wants big, strong, ball winning, ball carrying, box to box type midfielders. I think he wants a big physical side, mate. And I think that's the only reason the wee fella's going to just fall by the wayside and just possibly move on to another club. In regards to Finlay Curtis, again, we're loaded up with wingers. We're going to add Scott Olsen, who comes with a big pedigree, previously a £12 million player. Will possibly coming today to rebuild his career at Rangers, and hopefully hopefully it all goes well and he does, we end up buying him, because I still believe that one of the biggest mistakes we made in the summer was to go and buy Flav Tierney. I thought that was a no-brainer with the quality that he brought, the goals and the assists. I thought it was absolutely mental we never signed him. And I think this is going to be the same idea with Scott Wilson. I just think, again, Finlay Curtis is young enough, mate. He's got loads of time to develop. And a couple of wee loan moves, would do him good to get out there and playing week in, week out. And there's nothing saying, Andy, that the wee fella won't come back. But I just think, unfortunately, in Leo Cameron's position, Danny Rohl's looking for a different type of guy in the centre of his midfield. That's my opinion, mate.
But do you think the two of them will, if they go out on loan, do you think they'll come back and get a game? If they go out on loan, do you think they'll get a game next year?
Leo Cameron, no. Finlay Curtis, depending on how his loan goes, mate, because we've seen flashes of Finlay Curtis and seen some cracking goals from him. So it really depends on Finlay Curtis, mate, doesn't it? It depends on if he's going to Kilmarnock, he's going to do it with Neil McCann. Another guy that knows what it is to play for Rangers. He knows the demands of Rangers. So that could do him the world of good going down there and being coached by McCann. So that could work doubly good for him, mate. But as I said, he needs games. He needs plenty of games. He needs to be playing week in, week out and feeling that physicality of being a full-time professional footballer and the demands. Being in and out of squad, Andy, is all good and well. But see, you play in, week out, it's different, mate. It's different. It's different on your body. It's different, And these are the demands that you have to stand up to. You know what I mean, mate?
So what? I'm maybe betting on here. Wages Finlay Curtis, see, what, 19, 20, is he 20 or 21? I don't know. And I don't know how long he's got his contract. He's not that old, is he? I think he's 19 or 20. I'm not sure what he is. But I just think he wants to go on loan. I don't think there's any way back from sometimes. Be Cameron, I can understand. He's maybe, he was the Danny Roy signing, so Danny Roy didn't fancy him. And I came with the same port. He wants bigger. And that's what we need. We need the big midfielders with a bit of stature. I mean, I understand that, so I don't.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message when you have finished.
Carry on, Andy.
Sorry.
Finlay Curtis is sorry, Andy. Finlay Curtis is only 19, mate. So I still think he's got time on his side.
GB, when you come, mate.
I think it will depend on the rest of the season, because like Gassama's getting a lot of attention, so he's been mainly playing out in the left. There's big talk that, like I says, Mikey Moore will be definitely going back to Spurs. I don't think we'll get unless, like I says, Spurs were open to allowing him to come back to us for another season. But I think the project was that he was to come here, get game time, and then, like I says, push for the Spurs team the following season. So there's two major players out your team right away. So I think Curtis has probably still got a chance because he done well on that left-hand side initially, especially in like Europe and all that. So he's got a chance to. But I think, like you're saying the new Andy and Port, that the way it's looking now is because of the amount of midfielders and attackers there's not got to be a lot of game time, and it's important that he keeps his development going. So Kamar's I think a great move for him. I think going there with Dodds and McCann, I think they'll hopefully push him on and he'll be a pivotal player for them. Like he'll probably be a starter, to be honest, most games, I think. And then we bring him back. He's growing up a wee bit more, and he can start pushing for our first team on a more regular basis. But again, I think it all depends on what happens with Gassama. Like if he continues on with a half decent season, then I can see us probably like grabbing that money in the summer or even the new. This depends what happens with that, because there's clubs out there looking for wingers. Whereas, as I start to show, Cloud Cameron, I'd love to see him stay, but I just think the loan to Aberdeen tells me that that's the beginning and the end, unfortunately. But I stand by what I says. I think in the years to come, we'll see him pop up in some team that will end up scoring a goal against us, and we'll go, that boy should have been at Rangers.
I think Andy's went to the bar in that hotel in Tenerife, boys. He's dropped his. He's away for another top up.
He's probably fell asleep. He's probably fell asleep on what me and Pope were talking about.
Cheers for your call, Andy, if you're still listening in, mate. And Derek, we tried to call you back there, mate. Your call went to voicemail. Just going to be wrapping up the show shortly, mate. But if you want to call in tomorrow night, we'll certainly get you on, pal. Thanks for trying to phone in. Port, I think we were just about touching on the midfield. You guys are going for Raskin, Diamonde and Asgard. I'm going to go a bit different. I'm going to say Diamonde, Chukwueze and Asgard. I think Raskin gets an omission tomorrow night into possibly the bench, but I think he could be a name that sits out completely, possibly.
I think you could be right. You could be right. I just think, I don't know how long the boy's been in the country for, how many training sessions he's had. That's the only reason I wouldn't be so eager to throw him in at the very start, because as I said, mate, he's not going to. Alan, that tomorrow night, see the newer players especially, Robert, Gary, in Scotland, the ball's like a hot toddy. It's so quick. It's, these are going to be wee terriers chasing us about like nutters for the first 20 minutes like they always do. And I just think calm head and the experience is needed just to make sure we don't have any banana skins. That's the only reason I'm saying keep the spine of the team correct and make your changes maybe when the wide areas what we touched on, like when Andy was on as well, we mentioned if he would go with the boy Aarons at right back, maybe change the forward, maybe change the wingers. But I wouldn't be changing too much, mate. I would just get the game done and then introduce your new players.
Who's your front three? I'll ask GB for his, and I think Andy's come back with Swandy. Just bear with us a minute, mate, and we'll get the front three, and then we'll come back to you, mate.
Mios, sorry, Gary, on you go.
No, mate, no, you first.
I was just going. To me, T-Chop Brothers told you. Miovski, Gassama, and I'd throw Danilo on as well up there. I'd throw Danilo playing after the left just to get him some game time, and a beauty, get him in the shop window, try and get him out the door, so he's not sitting there. I think he needs games as well, mate. I think he needs games. If we get any intention of selling him, Danilo could do a job, mate. I really do. And that should be more than enough to see off Aaron.
Oh, I'd like to think so, mate. GB, your front three for tomorrow night?
I think it'll be Gassama, Miovski and Chimete. I think that'll be a three. And Delano will be on the bench. Because I'm not sure that he didn't touch on the injuries. This is the thing. They talk too much about other things and you're desperate to find out about injuries. Where's Ant-Man at? Where's, what do you call it, Moore? Has he still got that muscle injury and all that, Kieran? So, that's as if Moore's fit, then he's got to obviously get I'll run it, I would imagine. But I know I would go with that. I'd go with Miovski needs minutes. Jamaica needs to keep the confidence going, and Gassama needs goals to get his confidence back as well. So I think it'll be worthwhile getting the two up front. The three up front, sorry.
I think it'll be Gassama, Moore, and Miovski. And then I think you'll see Antman second half. I think he's coming back from injury. He was on the bench at Aberdeen there. So I think he'll maybe get a half. Second half, Moore will come out at half time. But hopefully, as Port says, we've got enough, certainly enough on the field to go and to beat Annan and get to the next round. You back with us, Andy?
Yes, I'm back with your son now. I would go with Danilo, Miovski, and who's the boy they called for the? He's playing. He was in one summer, the big striker, the reserve. I don't know if he's away back at one. He begins with a C. His name, I forget his name. We did not play him. What's the boy's name?
I know the boy you're talking about. He did. He went back out. We brought him back, and then we sent him to another club.
Oh, he's away again.
Boy.
That's what happened. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here on holiday. GB, you know. That's what I'm here on holiday. That's one of the things. Jeez, I can't
Josh his name is.
Jetos, aye.
That's the one.
Aye, that's the boy.
What about Matondo, Robert? Matondo got a chance tomorrow?
Maybe by the way, see yourself, maybe he may actually play him.
If he does make it with the same amount of appearances as GB this calendar year.
Robert, see we go with Tondo and with Danilo up front. He'll get 3 goals each. You might get 2 million for them each. To score a hat trick. That's a correct, won't it? 5 goals each or something. Aye, anyway. No.
Aaron probably didn't even take up at Matondo, Andy. Aaron probably didn't take him for nothing.
He seemed, what do you want? He's doing 25 grand a week, that wee Matondo.
Aye.
Matondo could buy Aaron if he wanted to.
Mental. Anyway,
right,
I'm going to
lads,
together one
unfortunately, we've reached that time in the evening. Apologies, Andy. And
no
hope
problem.
you enjoyed your holiday, mate. Final word from your good self, mate.
Thanks for taking my call, and this time I phoned at the right time. I phoned Tuesday night, looked up 7:30. Of course, you can't auction, never even mentioned on air, nothing, you know what I mean?
Always a professional, Rocks.
I disturbed the big badge tea, I disturbed their old school blues tea, but I pay for that. Listen, thanks for taking my call, boys. I'll be back home for the game tomorrow, and we'll get, I reckon it'll be 7-9. Okay, thanks everybody.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy your final
Cheers,
night.
boys.
Cheers,
I love
Andy.
you a bit. You know I love you a bit. Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Andy. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Andy. Final word from your good self, Port Bear.
Aye, good to be back, mate. Good to be back on yourself and my mucker GB. I'm going to go for a 4-0 tomorrow night, and a reach a meaty double, and I'm going to get one for Gassama and a big Manny Fernandez header, a big bullet. That'll be my goal scorers and my score for tomorrow, guys. Thanks very much, and always mention the Facebook loyal and the YouTube troops. Thanks everybody for listening in. Cheers, Roberto.
Cheers, mate. Good to hear you. Good to have you back on the show. Last word from your good self, Rabbi. Sorry, GB.
But that is my last one.
That's gotta get in it. Gary Matondo.
Gary Matondo. Getting mad with Matondo. Boys, great chat tonight. I know we kind of went down the rabbit hole with signings and stuff like that, and the background of the new CEO coming in and stuff like that. But it was good to get it out there and get the feelings aired. And on to tomorrow. I'm way Port. I'm looking for a big high scorer tomorrow night. Not as much as what Andy predicted there with 7-0, but I'll go for a 5-0. Let's go for it.
Cheers, mate. Good to have you on the show again, as always. Well, can I just thank, obviously, Andy for phoning in. Derek, unfortunately, we couldn't get you back on your call, mate. We'll try and get you on another night if you call in tomorrow night. Hopefully get you on. A big thanks to GB and Port for doing the show, myself, and of course the Techie Boys, Fox and Old School Blue in the background. And of course, everybody out there listening on Facebook, YouTube, always appreciate your time listening in and contributing on the feeds, etc. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6:45 for a pre-match show ahead of our Scottish Cup kick-starting off at Ibrox against Annan Athletic. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. Take it away. Old School Blue.